Hey, what's up guys? It's HoveringBanana and welcome to part 2 of our White Dracos to Alpha Cap trading series. Now before we get into today's trades, I must say most of these are about a week old. Got a bit busy in real life and I decided to just chill out on the weekend. Now I don't think it should affect the trades too much, but if it does, I'll explain it to you when we get there. So let's just take a quick look at our inventory from the end of part 1. Valued it all at about $133. We got 104 keys, and then when we look at all our items, all of them are fairly decent, nothing extremely difficult to trade and not a ton of junk items. So to kick off today's first trade, I bought a lime fire plug for 1 key. I decided to give painted fire plugs a shot because we've had success with a similar low tier item, the painted septum wheels. Been flipping those easily for about 1 key profit, and these are still quite new, so they're going to have a decent amount of demand on them, so I thought I'd just give them a shot. Next trade is pretty much the same thing, except I'm buying a pair of saffron ones for 1 key, and with both of these painted fire plugs I'm going to look to sell them for 2 keys each. And for the next trade I'm getting myself another pair of painted fire plugs. This time I'm buying a pair of white painted fire plugs, and because white tends to be a better color for painted items, they're generally valued slightly higher. So with these I'm buying them for 2 keys, gonna look to sell them for 3, but maybe I can stretch it and get 4 keys for them. So for the next trade I just bought another pair of white painted septums for 2 keys, and we've seen in the previous episode it's pretty easy for me to get 3 keys for these. And moving on, I managed to sell my lime fire plugs for 2 keys, so we're looking at an easy 1 key profit right there. So for the next trade we're selling another painted fire plug. This time I'm selling my crimson ones for 4 keys, and we bought these for 2, so we're making 2 keys profit on this wheel. For the next trade I sold my regular mantis for 4 keys. Now the price on these has changed since last week. You've got buyers trying to get it for 2 and sellers trying to get 3 keys for their mantises. So for the next trade, a guy had a pair of apex wheels and he was looking for a mantis and an endo, and I just so happened to have those. So for the endo I paid 1 key, the mantis I paid 3 keys, but together I valued them at about 5.5. And at this stage people were selling the apex for 6 keys with a few sellers at 7. A week later however, 6 keys it seems to sell extremely quickly, whereas most sellers are trying to get 7 keys for it. And if we are only making 50 cents profit on this trade, the apex wheels are very hyped, could maybe get like a nice overpay, but it would also be a lot easier to trade than the 2 import cars. And the next trade is probably the trade of the century. Guy invited me for my cattleman topper, offered me a hearts boost and a drink helmet, and how could I say no to all that profit? So let's move on to an actual trade where I sold my orange septum wheels for 2 keys. So for the next trade I found a guy that had Paragon certified apex wheels, and he didn't like the certification, so he was just looking for regular ones. And I obviously decided to take this deal because I feel the certification is easily going to add 1 key to the value. So moving on, a guy invited me and he had crimson fire plugs that he wanted to sell to me for 2 keys. However, he also asked if I had 2 nitro crates. I assume he wanted to open those with the 2 keys he was getting now, and he gave me a pretty good offer for them. He gave me a ZSR, which I'm sure I could get 2 nitro crates for if I'm patient. Then a blue alchemist, I think I can also get 2 nitros for those. And then acrobat certified septum wheels, crappy certification on a very low tier item, so I think I can only get 1 nitro for that, maybe 2 if I'm very lucky. But that is a fairly good deal for my 2 nitro crates. On to the next trade, I bought a pair of grey Kalos wheels for 3 keys. Another wheel we've bought in a previous episode, and with these I'm just looking to sell them for 4 keys. Next up, I am buying another painted fire plug for 1 key, and this time we're getting ourselves a forest green fire plug. The next trade involves simply one of my CC2 crates. All my low tier items I had up on rocketleague.com, was just asking for any offers on them. For the CC2, the guy offered me a cobalt painted Cobra. Now this I value at about 50 cents. However, it is for the X-Devil MK2. Not a very popular car, so it will be a difficult item for me to trade. And for the next trade I am just buying saffron septums for 1 key. Moving on, I sold my Paragon certified apex wheels for 7 keys. A week later I do feel they've risen a bit, and I think I could have gotten 8 keys today. But at the time of this trade I was quite happy simply getting 7 keys for these. So moving along, I sold one of my unpainted triplex wheels for 2 nitro crates. At this stage, 2 nitros were going for about 1 key, and we bought 2 of these unpainted triplex wheels for simply 1 key, so just a little 50 cents profit with this deal. Next up, we have another painted fire plug. This time we've got a purple one, and I'm buying it here for 1 key. Moving on to the next trade, where I sold my white painted septum wheels for 3 keys. And I forgot to mention, because I get asked this quite a bit, most of the trades you see in my videos simply come from adverts I place on rocketleague.com. For the next trade, I simply sold my forest green fire plugs for 2 keys. Shortly after that, I got invited for another painted fire plug and bought an orange pair for 1 key. Next up, I sold my Dominus GT RLCS decal for 2 nitro crates. I bought this in the previous episode for 1 key. I mentioned how I felt it was a bit of a risk, but there was a lot of RLCS hype and I was hoping to get a crazy good offer, but unfortunately nothing came out of it, so I just sold it for 2 nitro crates, which I should be able to get 1 key for those. The next trade is another 2 nitro crates, and I'm simply selling my ZSR for those 2. So next up, I bought another pair of forest green painted fire plugs for 1 key, and I apologize if you guys are a bit sick of the fire plugs. I do think I got a bit carried away with them. It was just very easy for me to buy and sell them and easily flip them for like 1 or 2 keys profit. But I didn't notice it was so many, so hopefully you can forgive me for all these dang fire plugs. And as I say that, the very next trade is another painted fire plug. This time I am selling my crimson ones for 4 keys. Next trade is thankfully not another fire plug. This time I got invited for my purple septum wheels, and the guy offered me a nice item overpay. We had 2 nitro crates, that's about 1 key. Then we've got some FSL wheels, that's about 75 cents. Same thing with the Kalos and the Voltaic wheels. We got a proton boost, I would say that's about 50 cents. And then we got some disco wheels, I think that's about 50 to 75 cents. So in total that's a very nice overpay. We're getting about 4 keys in items for my 2 key item. The next trade involves my Striker certified white septum wheels. I valued these at about 5 keys. And a guy offered me 4 keys plus a Dominus GT and a pair of unpainted loopers. Dominus GT should be about 75 cents, maybe 1 key, and then the unpainted loopers are about 50 cents, so that's 4 keys with just a little overpay in 2 items. Alrighty, the next trade is for my white Jiangxi decal. I valued this at about 1.5 to 2 keys because it was a decent looking decal for a very popular car and in a very good color. And a guy invited me for this. He offered me 1 key plus some ads. The ad I picked out was a Tactician certified K2 wheels. I valued those at about 1.5 keys. He asked if I could add slightly, so I threw in a CC3 crate and a CC2 crate. So we're making a bit of profit with this trade, but these K2 wheels should be easier to trade than the Jiangxi. Next up, the fire plugs are back with a vengeance, and I'm buying a pair of sky blue ones for 1 key. For the next trade, I got another item overpay offer for my Saffron Septum wheels. This guy offered me some show-off certified grey FSL wheels. I would have actually done those 1-to-1 because I feel the FSLs are better. But on top of that, I was getting a Roadhog that should easily be about 50 cents. And then 2 CC crates that should be about 20 cents. For the next trade, I simply sold the purple fire plugs I had for 2 keys. Moving on to the next trade, I had my Proton and Looper wheels up on rocketleague.com and I was looking to get 2 nitro crates each for them. However, this guy only had 3 nitro crates, so to make up for it he added in a turbo crate as well as some unpainted Spiralis. I feel that should equal a nitro crate, so we're looking at about 1 key profit off this trade. Next up, I traded my Sniper certified Lime FSL wheels for a Mantis. For these I was looking for 4 keys, but I was also accepting a Mantis because at this stage it was fairly easy to get 4 keys for a Mantis. And just a little snippet of information for you guys. In Counter-Strike they call these liquid items, which are very popular items that are easy to exchange for a certain number of keys. So the next trade is for those grey FSL wheels I had. I think I was looking for 2 keys, but maybe I had an advert out asking for 3. Can't really remember which it was. But I got invited by a guy. He offered me 1 key plus Kalos wheels. That's about 75 cents for the Kalos. Then we have some Sniper flyer plugs. I'd say that's easy 50 cents. And then a Takumi RXT, that's about 75 cents. So that's 1 key plus 2 keys in items. Next up, I managed to sell 8 of my nitro crates for 4 keys. I posted this on Discord because one of my subscribers suggested Discord to me for selling crates, and for some reason I have somehow found it easy to sell crates there, not really sure why, but give it a shot if you are struggling to sell some of your crates. So the next trade is a repeat of a previous one, and I traded the remaining XXX I had for 2 nitro crates. After that, I managed to trade the Sporadus wheels I had for nitro crate. Little bit of profit here, but it should be easier to trade the nitro. And the last trade today, gonna end it off with the most iconic item, painted fire plugs for 1 key. But that is it for today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here, and check out the Twitter and Facebook pages. But as always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.